Hey everybody, welcome back to your favorite media response show. This is, of course, X is for Show. We are here promoting our new record, 30-second drag queen songs. I'm kidding. We're here to talk about Drag Race. As always, I'm Nico Action, and NICO.
I'm TK Accidental.
That makes me Tori at SM Tori. That's Tori with an I.
Hey everyone, it's Peak Jonah. You can follow me places at Peak Jonah.
And I'm your producer, KEVO, who likes to have way too much fun. You can find me at KEVO Really. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment so we know what you want us to cover in the future. But today we got music. We got it in our soul, and we're super excited to talk about it.
Yes, well, but also we don't have music, and that is actually the really big problem. I don't know. I want to say, first of all, I loved the episode. I actually had a really good time with the episode. It was silly, it was fun, it was light, it was dumb. I laughed, I cried. It was a good time. I felt really good about the tops and bottoms. The thing that definitely didn't stand out to this episode was the songs. And I kept thinking, like, maybe there will be like a whole song. Maybe when the EP comes out, there will be a 2.5-minute version of any of these. And there weren't. And so I don't know, I'm fascinated because like we also got like none of like the singing. We didn't get any of the let me rephrase that. We didn't get any of the posing for auto-tune. So that's interesting.
I enjoyed what it was. I enjoyed that they were really spoofy songs. Like we talked about Canada last week, and I really had to go back after we all talked because I did not pick up on the idea that they were supposed to be funny even. Like they were to me they were just bad songs, and like even when I went back again to watch them for humor, it was almost worse with that in mind. These, at the very least, it was like a skit. It was like a skit. It was like a sketch, but
that's not my problem. My problem is that the EPs, the songs are still 40 seconds long.
Yeah,
the released album,
right?
40
so
seconds long track.
They should not have even bothered with that.
Yeah, I agree. They're harmless little bops, but like
they should have left it on the stage.
Speaking of left.
It Tori's just done. She's not having this. It speaks to. I loved the concept for this, and I had a lot of fun with it. We'll get to that, but one of the big things I did notice was this was another episode that I was like, it feels like the show is taking in more money than ever and spending less than ever. The fact that the girls filmed this all in the Untucked Lounge by themselves with no director, not even a green screen. It had a lo-fi effect to it, and it kind of made the skit thing happen a little bit more as a setup, but it also all just felt really thin on the part of production. Like this was a cool concept, turning iconic moments into songs, but then it felt like they were like, and we will give you $5.
Even then some of the songs were just sort of like say the lines.
Yeah,
some of the songs were just like, I'm saying this famous quote over a line that kind of meanders, and like I am here for me. I love to meander my vocals. But like, I don't know.
And it was one of my favorites, but Unprofessional even was mostly just the one word that was focused on. So
yeah. I thought, Joella's was another one that I was like, I mean, I do think that's why they were in the bottom. And like, but the one, like, I mean, Susie Toots was really good. And so, I mean, I think that was part of it is like, they were bad because they were bad. But I feel like all of them the entire experience could have been enhanced if it didn't feel so low budget.
So like TK and I are both we're both consummate vocalists, so I think we're coming at it from snobby vocalist placed. I'm completely kidding, because I thought all the memes were great, but like Tori and
Nico's about to holler at the non-vocalist in the group. That's me.
Well, that's even where I'm coming. Like, I could not believe that we didn't see them recorded at all. Like,
I was very shocked because I know that it's the idea of if we don't see them recorded, it's always a little questionable on if they did. But the fact that they said it multiple times and that they were like, we love your voice, I was like, oh, we did. And I'm guessing that they just kind of were like, the fandom already knows what these quotes rants are. So we don't need to show them singing it because they know what it is. and then we can just show these things. I really like that they directed themselves. I really like that it was like team effort in like video village.
Like what like real girls do when they're just trying to make art.
Right. And I think you're right. I think that we, I guess, haven't been maybe. I think to me, production is maybe being a little less subtle with the fact that they're going to put a couple of goose eggs in there for people, and it just is what it is. And I think for me, so many of these worked, and I think so many of them didn't. And then some of them, I was like, why are we choosing this instead of the enormous, exciting fight that happened right after it or before it?
How was there not a song called I Said What I Said, bitch? Like, that is like my favorite quote of all time.
This is the Laganja moment that we're going with instead of one of the many untucked moments. Like, why? I mean, I get why. Like, they didn't want to exactly like show people at their absolute most horrifying, I hate that I look like this way, day. But production's not really that nice.
I think they chose a lot of things that like really caught on. Like I hear what you're saying about the Laganja moment, but also that entire stand-up was hysterical for just Laganja just did not do well. But truthfully, she also really sold it. She like did not give up on that stage, which was really impressive. And get your lighters in the house.
This is hot talk.
I agree with you, Tori, that they I appreciated that the queens were directing themselves because it felt a little bit better in my mind. Like there's less that it puts more on the girls and it shows a lot more of their talents and their showcases, especially someone like Crystal who's taking a leadership role. And I think sometimes, even though I think sometimes that gets an understated edit of like the queens who choreograph, the queens who take a more responsibility for something, even if they don't specifically have to, that I don't know if it always gets brought up on stage. But I really enjoyed that they were the ones to do it. Because so many words I'm trying to say. It was just so enjoyable, and I thought they were fun. I think some of the moments, like, is the no class, no manners moment, bitch, I'm from Chicago, absolutely iconic. Yes, all of the season 2 girlies are hysterical. I would have maybe done a different moment because they do use that one a lot. I would have loved in the reunion Tatiana versus Raven. I'm speaking with the nail. Thank you. I really would have maybe like varied the moments. The one I was thinking, like, all right, if in the fantasy world that I'm on Drag Race, this is the challenge I get. What moment do I want? I specifically want a whole song of, and what do you do successfully? Quickly.
That was top of my list. Also, you talked about Tatiana and Raven. I would have just done a solo. She's shit. Her look is shit.
I would never say that.
Also, a number about boogers, a number about walking children out in nature.
Yeah.
You Don't Love Me, a song that is You Don't Love Me. Like,
yeah, this is a reusable challenge, and I do hope they reuse it.
I speaking of Bruno, this was a little too stuffed at times, and it looked a little unnatural. In part because the thing that made this not my favorite, in like a really point-to-able way. First of all, how dare Lexi be the most lovable fucking human on the planet? How dare she? How dare Anya be so inspiring? How dare these girls be so incredible when I already have so many girls to love? I only have so much room. I guess it's like Pokemon. You just never run out of room to love these incredible creatures.
This season is not a dud.
No, it is not.
No, everyone is entertaining.
But the hard part for me that I think made it tough to judge, like the episode was great, the challenge was great, but I don't think you could judge these girls equally because they were not all doing the same thing. A girl with a solo is not competing against a girl in a duet the same way. And I mean, all I mean by that is like, popular is a different number than what is this feeling, and like it's just a different thing. And so like, I did think that maybe some of these girls deserve to all get their own solos or all get duets.
Yeah, it was interesting. I really didn't appreciate the judgment for Arietti. didn't think it was accurate, and
Let her enjoy Sweet Tooth. What's the problem?
It felt very convenient.
Michelle clocked in and said, "I'm getting my paycheck. I will be getting my raise for being a bitch on national television."
Yeah, like
She
if I have to
was
show up and do this, I'll do
in.
it.
I actually enjoyed Arietti holding that all in, knowing that that is what led her Amor Lucky to change her face the previous week and get sent home.
Oh,
So
why
she's
aren't
taking
she
in
so lucky?
all of this about her own nose, saying, "This is how I feel the most beautiful,"
Right,
to
right,
protect
right.
herself. Michelle being like, "Okay, I'll back off," and then Michelle going over here and saying, "See, you can change your look like Susie Toot," and Arietti just slowly plotting terrible, terrible things for whenever
feel
she has to
like-
dunk her.
There's a difference between like Lucky Stars and what Arietti is doing with that
Yes.
one look. And I was talking about this with Nico, where I compared it to even Bianca, where Bianca, she even while she has a style, it is something that is a little more generalized and that she can mold into different other forms.
Mhm.
And I feel an Arietti's deer person thing is not that. It's just a deer person thing that she keeps putting into other challenges. And that's not quite that's yeah. I just don't think that's what they're looking for. I don't think it's working.
And
I mean, it's a very cool signature style. I think
Yeah.
we've established over and over again that signature style, if you are lucky and it's an amazing signature style, you can run it 5 times. But then, I mean, Bianca's a great example. Then you have to get a little more expansive. And I really give her credit. Susie's signature style already is a little more versatile, because even if you keep it in that 20s cartoon character Betty Boop style, there's a bunch of stuff you can do.
Yeah, there's Betty Boop and Cuphead.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
You can drift it towards the 40s.
There's
you
a
can
lot of
drift
Max
it
Fleischman
this way,
options.
and-
It's all over the place. But this episode went
Bryce,
even-
yes.
This episode, she went really even different from that and did something entirely different. It's unfortunate that it happened this week, because it ended up being such a stark contrast for Arietti and such a thing to point to.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like, I love a signature look. I thought Dusty's dots were fine. I thought they were cool.
We got one episode with the dots before Michelle said no.
Oh yeah, I mean,
yeah,
was
that's not
really-
okay.
it was
I'm
such a
just-
hard signature that like I could understand why it got brought up early.
Right. But I feel
and-
like we didn't dog Dawn for this that much.
Well, And Tori, I want to ask you, as somebody with a little bit of, kind of like that experience in the world of particular people in theater, where there are people with styles that are their definitive, like, is that something where, like, if Bette Midler was like, listen, I'm going to just start speaking Spanish halfway through Hello Dolly. You're just going to have to deal with how much I break into Spanish in the middle of Hello Dolly, and you have to live with that right into the show. Like, could Arietti command that nose line all the way to an Oscar? Like, is that a thing?
I think it's one of those, you gotta have that Trixie Mattel drive, and or the Bianca Del Rio elevation of everything else, where it's like, well, we can't, it's hard to come for you, period. So we're just going to accept everything.
Like,
kind of
that's
deal.
all of the Sailor Scouts at once? Yes, just
Right.
accept
Like,
everything.
in your example, one could say that Ethel Merman's version of Hello Dolly is not the most vocally challenging, as is Audra's right now. But that doesn't mean that, if Audra needed to sing a little, we can't just be like, yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, did you see that you did. You sent it to me, right. They set the closing date for Louis.
Yeah, I know. I'm very sorry, Jen.
I want to posit something slightly different. So someone said this, and it kind of resonated with me. I don't know Arietti. We don't know Arietti personally, so I do think Arietti's drag isn't always in the realm of woman illusion, but more a more feminine goddess, elf, alien. I mean, her mother, I mean the alien, and and she even said on stage, I feel the most beautiful when she does her makeup like that. And I wonder, is it really like that kind of signature style? Is it fair to critique it like the way Michelle did. I don't even think. I think they're both right. If that makes sense. I don't think anybody's wrong.
Yeah.
I part of me, I guess, just feels bad because if she's not specifically trying to sell the idea of, glamazon drag of I am a woman, she feels a little bit more in a different realm, and I don't know, I maybe just feel a particular way about saying someone whose specific style of drag and their presentation is, hey, I'm trying to be this specific thing, and then saying, well, we want you to try to do something else. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I guess maybe just have a feel. I love that Michelle was a bitch, but I feel like the way they went about it was a little more harsh.
Can I engage it in a way that's like really real to you? You work predominantly in electrical as an engineer, but if somebody asked you to operate in a different style of in a different discipline of engineering, you might still be able to do it, but that's not your specialty. That's not where you practice. That's not where your art of math is. And so like, it is one of those things where, it's a different discipline, being able to do a different style of artistry. And clearly for Arietti, artistry is cultural, and you're asking her to be a different kind of cultural woman. And Jonah, I really think there is something to your point. I'm here for a big bitch moment because I'm a big bitch, but like, I really hear where you're coming from. Also, speaking of hearing where people are coming from, Andrew got it right away. First comment. Tori given old Hollywood glamour. She is absolutely killing it tonight. Yeah. Just as did Bosco using her brows in the Rusical.
Which is a very fair example.
Yeah.
Because also it was only weird because she didn't do it in Daytona Wins. She did standard eyebrows. So it was like she did it before once, and then it's fine. I'm the Bosco stand here, and
How many times did you see Bosco in 2024?
3.
Yeah.
About 3 nights in a row.
I was really intrigued by what you're saying, Jonah, because I think that for me, RuPaul started the show in a very specific female illusion, glamazon, we want the high femme fierceness look. And I think that as more drag, as drag has grown into something more mainstream, it has allowed the fringe drag to come higher up inside the dragosphere and start to filter in to her system. And I think that part of it is that we're allowing more drag female creaturism in, but we're not crowning it yet on this show. And so then I guess for me it becomes, is it worth risking if you're more of a drag creature than a drag female illusionist to go on the show if you're not ready to flip the entire script?
And that's such a beautiful point. And I want to add on, like, part of the reason you're getting on the show is marketing yourself. If you were booking Arietti, you're getting the Arietti experience to bring her to whatever show that you want to get her to. You're going to want her to do the nose. So like, I understand that the show sometimes gets weird with people who have, I think Nico, you brought this up, that they have a strong signature already, that they're not developing it on the show. It's, if they already have it and they come with it to the show, the judges often seem like they don't like that. They don't want you to have a signature yet. They very weirdly want you to be an oxymoron of this uncut diamond in the rough, where you are extremely polished in every single way, except in certain ways. So
sounds like an intactivist groomer. Sorry.
17 years old, 20 years experience.
Oh my god, double barrel. Oh,
all the way across the sky.
Got weird, folks.
I know, but
don't forget to look us up on the socials at X is for show.
NICO.
I actually very funny.
Sorry, Jonah. Jonah, take it back.
I think this was an example of an episode where like the tops and bottoms were completely and utterly correct. I really like. It feels like I keep saying so far this season, outside of Badonkadonk, which it's fine. That's produced. Let it be produced. Everyone, we're all in the illusion. We're all playing the fantasy. We're all buying into it. This episode didn't really feel that produced. The only song I did not like, and I think it's because the moment is only funny if you're specifically watching the scene is Joella. If we have a piece of hair, some fabric, and a little bit of trash to rummage about, we will do like that. That entire, I don't know where they like cut out the context of why Mariah was going on about that. But if you watch the actual clip, they put like patriotic music behind it, and it becomes way more entertaining.
That's right.
I think there would have been like, I think not her fault. I think anybody might have had a little bit more difficulty with this song because I don't know if the actual base of the song is as entertaining as some of the other moments.
Right. Or if you already produce it to be this patriotic thing, keep it. Don't go full gospel with it. Because I think the gospel kind of threw me off a little.
Okay, Tori, in that wig, you absolutely look like you could be the hero of Star Wars Episode 8, and I have been trying to place it this entire broadcast.
Really? I'm in an oh look,
Killing
I'm an Alexis Mateo lookalike kind of vibe.
Emma, hold up.
You look like the human version of Twilight Sparkle.
Oh, I'll take it.
You
She sounds-
mean
I think
the
she's
namesake
bisexual
for
on
my
Facebook.
dog, Nico?
Yeah.
Been killing me this whole episode.
I'm just saying, my dog is Amelin Holdo. I love her very much. She's going to come in here now because I just said her name.
Well, and she is a beautiful queen.
Yes, star.
Also, one of the things that I do want to comment on, and this is me maybe a little bit being a guy who studied English for a living for too long, so I'm the problem. But guys, what is it when you start saying to girls, listen, you want people to like you? Be other people's funny. What does that mean? These girls were not asked to be funny on their own. They were asked to be other people's funny. They were asked to literally buy into existing memes, repeat them vaguely verbatim by songs written, 2 songs written by the guy who writes, I'm assuming, most of the Drag Race songs. One of the things that sort of throws me off about this is that you're kind of getting the girls to do, that impression. You didn't get the girl to do the impression they're best at. This is not about a girl showcasing their talent. This is the show making money on memes.
Yeah.
This is not about the girls. This is about the memes, which is not most challenges.
Well, and I have a question too. How do we feel this compares to what we felt back in August was very much a letdown, Snatch Game the Rusical, where it was a lot more, I don't know, one note for trying to do a lot of the same things. I really feel like I thought going more in on jokes would have helped, if I recall at the time. So I'm not sure now how I feel in comparison because I hear what you're saying.
The thing I'll say is that, especially early on, a lot of the challenges were based on things that RuPaul had done, and she would literally come in and be like, famously, I did the RuPaul show, and this guest came on. This week, you'll be doing your own show, blah, 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 blah. And we've kind of moved away from that because we've covered basically all the specifics of the things that she's done. So it's either a repeat of one of those challenges or you can't really do it. But we've also...
As you recall, I was on Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Like, they're not going to go that deep.
Going hard on here. Come on.
She was a cheerleader.
Yeah, Brady Bunch. We got a lot of options here. Now it's kind of more broadly, can you get into the RuPaul ethos of things? And the RuPaul ethos of things is getting something, taking insane ownership of it, and drilling it into the fucking earth like you are fracking for oil. And you know, the prime example of that is has had hers, which is not something that she said or made up. It's something that she openly admits she heard at a fast food place and then took as her own, which is fine. Do that, do whatever. But a challenge like this is essentially encouraging girls to do the thing that she does all the time, which is find a moment, realize it's monetizable, make sure you own it, and then this benefits everybody. And of course, it primarily benefits World of Wonder and RuPaul. If a girl is lucky, which some of these girls were, they got the right song, and it matched with their energy, and they could sell it really well. And if nothing else, they will be known as somebody who was funny in this challenge. If you are, Joelle or Corey King, you did not luck out this week, and it sucks for you. I don't know. I do think there's something to be said for figuring out how to take cultural reference and make them your own and do something with them. I do think it is a very fine line that it's easy to trip over both sides of, where you are just essentially taking other people. You're not wrong about that critique. Like, they are just essentially taking other people's material. They're not being their own trademark version of funny. And so they lose out on showing that part of themselves, but they are also, it's the same thing. Seeing Lil Pound Cake be the Squid Game mascot, it's just kind of like, that's not like, yeah, you guys own it because it was on your show, but that you didn't make that up. That's not your thing. It bums me out whenever I see the show use it, even though of course it's completely legal, because that is Alaska's thing. I don't like it showing up without Alaska around. There she is. Love her.
Well, and I mean, doesn't Audra have her own song for the Linda Evangelista moment?
She has remixes, that she performed, but she doesn't even own. I don't think anybody can monetize that. I think the DJ even who did it is just out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's not the worst thing to do, but your critique isn't invalid, and it'll become a real thing when we get to the end of the season if we all say there were very few opportunities for these girls to show their own humor. But we did have this whole episode where they were basically just asked to do somebody else's.
I think this challenge was a little bit of a double-edged sword, almost like a monkey paw wish, but in a non-negative connotation. On season 5, when they did the lip dub of Untucked moments, it was one of the funniest challenges because it was just hysterical. You're already taking a heightened moment, and then you're adding more drag to it because they were like, overact, be over everything. And it was a really successful, funny challenge. And people have been clamoring for it to come back because it was just enjoyable. We've had so many wonderful, amazing fights, interesting moments, beautiful, whatevers in Untucked that people want them to do it again. And this is kind of that in a weird way. So on one hand, I'm appreciative that we're like going through these iconic moments again. We're re-getting them. But on the other hand, I wanted the specific lip dub, but I do appreciate that they were trying to mix things up. I also think it's a double-edged sword of having the songs pre-written for them, as well as choosing which specific funny moments, because you're right that the material given to them wasn't their own. But I think their specific comedy, humor, star power, and their performance style should be coming through in their sketches, in their little skits. I think that's where we're supposed to see it. And there could be an argument to say that they should have a little bit more of that control, a little bit more of a say in how their songs went about. But I think they had to make do with what they could. Like when they did Star Quality, it had a very much a flamenco vibe, so they might have felt pigeonholed to do more flamenco style, or flamenco / salsa. So I think maybe a challenge like this can work, but maybe giving them a little bit more room to really showcase. It sometimes feels like the show is a little bit afraid to put the girls to work, to like do things. No, like let them. Like I know for this they might have wanted to give them the song, but like I don't know, have them pick the moments and like work with Lucia and not Lucian. Whoa, no, Leland.
I mean, honestly, it's one of those things where like everybody's got the same name. I really wouldn't. I would not worry too much about it.
I was also surprised that RuPaul assigned who was who in the duets. I would have thought that they would have been like, and if you're in a duet, like
it was actually on the card.
Oh, okay, got it.
Now, I've actually asked KEVO to prepare an image, because there's a thing I would like to. Yeah, no, I mean, I even messaged you. Was like, have you seen my message, handsome? But no. There's a look I want to specifically talk about for a moment because you're talking about girls doing. I brought it up and then you all echoed me because I'm the host. That's a really good idea. One of the things that I really found myself thinking about is building into your own bad meme. One of the things that is so fucking funny is that Mistress handed Sasha Colby the greatest meme of all time by saying this is coming her meet and greet. Like this was like literally like actually changed the game of all time. Literally handing the best girl there her win with a zinger against everyone else. And I bring that up because like you can also get into that thing. I won't stop bringing it up because I do think it is the unfunniest thing in the world. I think Detox is so much funnier than that dumb jaw thing, and that she becomes so obsessed with it is not funny because look, we've all sucked a fat dick. Like it's not impressive that you've gone for it. Okay. But Kevo, if the image is ready, I just want to say that one of the things that I found really frustrating here was that with this particular image, when it flashes, I thought that Corey King looked ridiculous this week, and it's that she's clearly referencing her look from last week, and I feel like at the end of the day, I don't want to give her Grishal greens. I don't want to help her level up at the gold saucer. I feel like, and that's actually, funny enough, that's an image from Lydia and Corey's sex tape. I feel like this is one of those things where Corey has attached to the wrong meme because she's a beautiful, stunning woman and man. She is clearly so fucking talented. Her fashion is so fun. And this dumb chocobo look is killing me. And I desperately need her to stop being a chocobo full time. Because look, it is working for Susie Toot that out of drag, she is essentially a Tonbury. This is working for her. But it is not working for Corey King that she is 24/7 the world's sexiest chocobo.
I don't think you're wrong. I do really appreciate that she was thinking about how to do a reference
to a sexy chocobo.
To a sexy chocobo. To Kennedy Davenport's Chrysalasberg.
Iconic speech.
Iconic speech.
The world was changed when
as I sat there doing it when they played the clip.
Truly, yeah.
In like the session.
And she had a feather thing that was bad, and that she, I love that she. Corey's such a fascinating character because even though she is bugging me a little bit, I really appreciate that she took all of the lessons from Plain and how Plain thought she was doing a thing that people would get and nobody got it and just thought she was an absolute monster. And Corey is taking it that extra level over the top so that it's always apparent that even when she is kind of mouthing off and going off, she's aware that she is being crazy and she's doing a bit and she's trying to be funny. And the other side of that is she can point to stuff that she has done and say, this was not good. This, she was fine with the idea that she was in the bottom for the chocobo look. She understood that it wasn't giving the same kind of opulence that everybody else was. And she then used that to sort of have the Glamazon moment. Didn't work out, but I love that that's what she was thinking. And that she could openly say like, this wasn't good, so I'm going to use it and use it as the before and get an after. There's a lot about her I really respect. It bums me out that she's not doing better. But I really appreciate where her head is at. And I'm really hoping that this can be, at this point in the competition, I would love to see her in the top for a couple challenges and just like have somebody who has that real journey of like, yeah, I stumbled when this all started, but then I started doing really well and it was fun. Because a lot of times, especially
I
see that hand.
have Monet's storyline on season 10, where Monet had 2 bottom placements early on, and then she was topping until she went home.
Yeah,
I mean, I have to assume that Monet tops from time to time.
Occasionally,
I think so. I think that's safe to assume. But yeah, I'm hoping for a lot for Corey. She is in her own way very funny and charismatic and charming. Unfortunately, I don't think she plays well to these kinds of drag race challenges. I hope she gets to Snatch Game because I'll be fascinated to find out if that's her thing. She's really funny if you give her an interview or a chance to kind of reply long form and monologue for a little
some
bit.
Materia.
Do you want to? Is there more you want to? We can do Chocobo Racing if you want. There's a lot.
I have
Is this
like
is this a fantasy final?
Yeah, it's a
It's
final.
a final
final.
fantasy
final.
I have a
Fantasy
notepad
final.
file. I made jokes ready to go. I've got a couple more queued up.
Okay, because
No,
I was like,
moving
oh
on
look,
to
it's a
season.
cute animation of Raven and Jessica from season 2's little chicken moment.
There was a Kevo. You put up an image of God, I forget which girls it was, but I even thought that it was
Oh,
completely.
not this one.
No, it was 2 girls from their number, and I can't think of who it was. And I literally thought to myself, "Ooh, Raven and Rasha look horrible." Wait, what was her name? The woman that we all thought was interesting for 1 second, and then we remembered that Republicans. Megan Kelly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Sam
There's a bunch
Starr
of them.
looks like
Carrie
Megan
Underwood.
Kelly this episode in a way that, like, one of the things that I want to say is there were 2 girls that I was completely wrong about. Completely. 1,000%. Anya Nerve might be one of the most important people to ever be on my TV screen. The way she blindly, selflessly encourages other people is the kind of person I dream of being. I will never be as selfless as Anya Nerve showed herself to be. Oh my God, that's one of the, when you hear people talk about empowerment, you don't
That's such
really...
odd praise coming from the woman who stole the trim last week and was like, I don't apologize. I'm glad I took it.
She wants to win, but she wants to build people up. She just thinks you should steal her trim too. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah,
She thinks you should steal her trim too.
Yes.
Let's see if that gets tested. But if it's true, then that's
And
there you go.
I was wrong about Sam Starr. I don't know anything about Sam Starr as a human. I don't know anything about Sam Starr as a person. What I know is that I assumed that Sam Starr was a... I assumed that Sam Starr was a chorus girl who got a lead role for no good reason. And what I came to find is that she is a fucking headliner who earned that marquee. I remain nervous about anybody who comes with pageants are my blood. That's a little exclusionary by definition of how pageants treat the drag world. That does not mean that I think Sam Starr is exclusionary. She is not a problem for where she is from, but where she is from does dictate how I see her behavior. Missy Elliott taught me to, check how they do it, where they from.
If I find out that Sam Starr is on Work the World or like Drag Queen Christmas or whatever, I'm going to be really stoked to see her numbers.
Same. Same.
But I think she's horrible, and I hate whenever she comes on screen. She's so evil and so nasty and rotted. I'm so sick
that
of her
bad.
So mild.
I don't think she's
so
that.
mild.
She has such a bad attitude.
Just
She's
because
driving me
she looks
fucking
like
insane.
Stepmom from Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan does not mean
She
that
does look.
bad.
And those are the vibes. And those are the
I
vibes.
mean-
too.
Okay, she does look like a twink that might smell like a cigarette, but
She is trying to get those girls sent to boarding school in Switzerland.
As someone who is not in
Someone
my
who's also
realm
trying.
of types of drag queen,
Yeah.
I'm not a pageant girly at the end of the day. It's not
Sure.
for me. It's a little too much. It's a little too polished. It's a little too perfect. However, somehow I have found myself falling in love with both Sam Starr and Crystal Envy, who
because
is
Crystal
a
Envy
little
is perfect.
adjacent. I have been very surprised and very excited for Crystal Envy and for Sam Starr. I thought Sam Starr was going to be, honestly, we can say it, Trinity 2.0, and I was not looking forward to it. And now I am very looking forward to it. Every week, I am sad.
I will say the vibe is very Trinity's daughter, not in a like, oh, you're just a carbon copy, but like,
Right.
oh, I see that.
Like you can see her cooking poorly on
Yeah.
television.
Yeah, you can see the lines
I
Trinity
can
put on the
see
page, and you
your
can see
mother-
where she colored
yeah.
in.
And she said very specifically, you're not going to go on the show and be bad at X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
And she's not. She's really good at X, Y, and Z. I love her for that, but she's horrible. And Anya, my thing with Anya is I love that she has said over and over again, like, I'm just here to be black, black, black. And, sometimes when contestants show up like your Joey J's and say, I'm just here to be gay, I love everything gay. It's like, yeah, girl.
First openly gay contestant Joey J.
Maddie Morphosis came on this show to be gay. Like, everybody comes on this show to be gay. That's not impressive.
I just want to remind everybody that the power of being gay on this show is I knew Joey J's leaks before I knew Joey J.
Yeah, exactly. Rock'em Sakura, these
I'm
things
getting gayer
happen.
by the hour. Just doing the stream.
I mean, look at that hair.
Coming on and being unapologetically black is a very different thing. A lot of other girls have done it. It's not rare, and shout out to so many girls who have done it. But I just love when somebody says that. I love when that's somebody's mission and that's somebody's motive. Nico, I think you might be right. I don't think 100% you are wrong, and I'm really interested to see how the season plays out. But we've seen some moments of her being all in for Anya just as much as and I think you're right. I think the lesson for her might be you should all be in it for yourself. And should it not hurt me to help you, I will do so. But I'm not quite where you are in thinking that the vibe is any kind of like definite like hardline support of the other girls yet. I can see the hints of it. I can see why you're there. I am waiting till we get a little further in the season. I still love her. She's still in my top 3, but not for the reason you're saying.
I want to code switch for a second. There's an episode of Abbott Elementary Abbott Elementary, the finest comedy on TV right now. I mean, really, this season is the best season yet somehow. I continue to be honored that Quinta Brunson would choose to dignify the art of teaching with something. So, would you say, JoJo?
We're going to see her this season. She's one of the guest judges.
That's
Is she really?
a gift.
I missed that.
Yeah, what a gift. I think it is the finest. I didn't even know that when I was praising this. I think it is the finest comedy on TV. As somebody who worked in education, I get really, really, really emotional watching Abbott. So we do it at special times for me. There's an episode where Ava flat out says, look, when you're from where I'm from and you don't have the opportunities that other people have, you make things work and you don't judge people for what it takes to survive. And I think what Anya showcased in this episode is a sense of survivalism that we rarely see dignified on television. And I think she did not steal trim. I think she survived by taking trim in a situation where there was no legal repercussion for sharing what was meant for everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not trying to I think Anya Nerve behaved as a real human in an artificial environment, and that's a little bit what we're reacting to. I think she is uniquely fabulous. I think she's just uniquely important. I don't know. She's Ketchi in Final Fantasy, reminding us that there's sometimes people that are better than human.
I hear what you're saying, and it's not quite Stanford prison experiment levels of human behavior. Again, it depends on whether or not she would have freely given of the trim she herself plucked from the table. Because I hear what you're saying, but there's a reason I made that specific dated reference. So grabbing stuff for your own survival can be tricky. It gets a little Dickensian, and this is not RuPaul's Best Friend race, but it's also not actually Squid Games anymore. They dropped that, even though it is the actual pin for this season in the gift shop on Worlds of Wonder. That gag, for some reason, is dropped. Go figure.
Leave You Me, something that is definitely on my mind. Having, as earlier mentioned, seen the Vegas show 2 to 3 times this year, this crew is a little bit familiar with Losing is the New Winning, the theme song of the Vegas show, and that they are making Losing is the New Winning the theme of this season, where every girl wins just by being on, because by being connected to Vegas, you win. I'm
If
having
you have a
hard
gambling problem.
Me?
If you have a gambling problem,
I'm sure I
yeah,
do.
no. I mean, no, I'm with you. I think I also think honestly this Badonka Dunk tag kind of ruins the exit, to be honest.
Yeah, I think
terrible.
I think that's by design, but I agree.
That's
ruins
kind of what I'm
the
trying to hint at. Guys, take it away.
When they're sashaying away and they say their little exit line, I hate that it's still in the shot. I hate that it ruins their shot.
I agree.
Yeah,
I wonder
agree.
if that's why it's not in the walkout anymore. That the Badonkadunk tank is what's replaced them filming the walkout that's not an Untucked anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe.
I'm
I
surprised
don't know.
this doesn't just wheel aside. Like, look at this thing. Does it really take that much effort?
It has
No.
to because it's not
It
there
is
when they come
hooked
out
up.
for
Right.
Say Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, I hate that it's in the shot. It really does ruin the thing. And what it feels like is RuPaul said, I can't fake not like laughing at these girls when they leave, so we need something to break it up. I don't know, like, because that you do have some really awkward moments, you have some really heartfelt moments, you have some great ones, you have some girls who, you know, are so professional and are not emotional. Thank you for this amazing opportunity. I love you all. They walk out. But you have some girls who like break down and cry on stage and weep their way out, and it's awkward and uncomfortable. And I'm wondering, and I love all of them. Like, even though it saddens me to see somebody's heartbreak on screen, I do think it's important. It is part of competition. I do think they've earned the right to react how they want and for us to witness it. I don't know if maybe people have gotten feedback from the girls that it's embarrassing to walk out like that and they don't want to do it, but it does feel like the show is like, feelings are icky, and if we do it this way, we break that up. But it's not cute. It's not, it's like, it's a solution searching for a problem in the Drag Race like workflow. You know,
I feel like we're gonna hit a person who doesn't want to pull the lever, who's just like, you know what, I'm good. Thank you.
I'd kill for that. I would kill for the person who's like, I'm cool.
I genuinely
I'm gonna
wonder
head
if
home.
Anya would be like, I'd stay if you said I can't have a double sachet, but I'm not gonna win because I pulled a lever. That's garbage, and levers are garbage. I'm gonna go be fabulous somewhere else. Bye.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Place your bets.
Akiri is a killer lip sync, and she was just like, "Yeah, no, I got sent home. I'm not battling my way back in. That's not worth it. Bye bye." Like, I feel like either they're just not gonna let the levers do anything. We may have someone who says no to it. I don't know. I can't imagine. To me, Mirage getting her moment while she was breaking down is very hard to watch. And I'm sure it's very hard for her to deal with. However, on the other side of it, it's a very important moment that keeps people in Mirage's mind. And now imagine it with a bunch of pink levers going like this in front of her. I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, it's weird. And if you're just gonna pull it away for the dance in 30 seconds anyway,
yes,
just take it. Just make it shoo 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 shoo.
There's a weird element that I do want to bring up to this season that has my heart aflutter in a way that's really kind of weird to talk about. I talk a lot about the advent of alternative rock, and like, yes, Jonah, you have come to love the alternative rock that I've brought to you from, you know, a decade removed, but like, yeah, like your childhood still exists in Lana Del Rey, and like, there could not be a Lana Del Rey without Tori Amos, but there couldn't be Tori Amos without Laura Branigan, and my mother listened to Laura Branigan. So like, it's this chain of continued honoring of what came before it. And one of the things that I can't help but acknowledge with season 17 of Drag Race, which is like season 120 of the franchise, is that these girls were 5 if they're 22 now. And like, some of these girls grew up in drag. So for them, this is getting to play Juliet. This is like, you know, when I think about the role that I want to play the most on Broadway, yeah, it's Antony. Like, what the fuck tenor wouldn't, I don't, it's tough for me when people are like, who do you want to, Antony and Sweeney Todd? What a stupid question. Like, but like, the other side of it is probably Mrs. Lovett. If you gave me any other role, I would want to do a male Mrs. Lovett. And like, that's it. That's the photo that I think is Raja and Raven. Go right back. That is Raja and Raven right there. I think I am the meanest bitch, and they should have me on the show. So part of why I bring that up is like I made a bunch of jokes about Final Fantasy this episode. There are 100, and there are 16 mainline games at this point. I would want to pull my favorite memes, and if you stuck me on fucking Final Fantasy 2, God, I would be so mad, but I'd find a way to find the joke. I think putting Crystal on Latrice's Unprofessional was kind of a mistake, but she made it perfect. She is perfect. I have Jersey girl blinders for her. That is like, there is a specific thing where someone is hot in a way that only you find hot. Crystal, girl, that's you. But so the whole point I'm trying to get to is I came into this 2 years ago having grown up in the queer world, but these memes are new to me. These girls, some of them, these memes are longer and older to them than the queer culture that birthed the memes. I think it's also important to remember that as much as these girls are repeating earlier elements of this franchise, some of these girls came into drag because of this franchise in a way that is different than seasons 2 or 3. The seasons they're quoting.
No, yeah. I mean, there comes a point where you would have to say, like, for many of us, if we were given the opportunity to go on to Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood again someday, like, we'd all be losing our minds to get to go on there. And I think that you're right. This is 100% what this is. I think it's why we're seeing shades of previous queens again. I think it's why we see a lot of the same language being overused. Like the fact that Lagange's language from season 6 is now just de rigueur for everyone in a slightly less annoying voice. Like, it's just,
Listen,
it's all there. Right. And so, like, you know, we can't all we can't all bring originality if it's starting to become like an AI Ouroboros of eating itself. What makes RuPaul laugh, that makes production interesting, that gets everything going.
But what I will say is, I'm gonna miss that the Empress of the Joella dynasty will no longer be gracing our television anymore. I love that they chose this shot. It's so funny. The fact that she was probably like this. Hold on, wait. I tried to had to be like this the entire time to keep it rigid.
You know, it was a serve.
Has anyone slept on Joella, really?
No, these past 2 weeks, we've been loving her because she truly is the gift that keeps on giving. And I also love that she refused to do any of the Snoop Dogg parts in a premonition radical boycott.
Okay, hold on though, because that doesn't make any sense because she still supports Katy Perry, one of the most problematic politicians.
Well,
she didn't know that yet. This is a year earlier.
Yeah, no, Katy Perry's been problematic since Biden's midterms, supporting humongously problematic, literally sweep the homeless people into an encampment and ship them out of the country politicians. So she's already had some tasty problems to go by.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not giving Katy Perry a pass on that. Katy Perry,
no, as you should not. Yeah, Joelle is such a weird character. I'm so glad that she came on so strong because she has her following. She will be very memorable, and this look was memorable. It was not acceptable. It was not acceptable for the challenge, but it's really funny, and like it will be a meme forever. And again, like this will be worn on a tour. This will be worn on a Work the World. This will be worn on some kind of tour because the reference is funny no matter what. And she'll take it off for a better reveal from now on, and that'll be great. It's good for her. She is a local icon who is gonna get hers, and that's what she came to do.
She's getting an All-Stars like no one's business. She's top 3ing All-Stars. I'm telling you guys, Joella is the new Eureka.
Here's the thing. It's just, it didn't have to just be funny. It was funny. The back of it, I wish I had thought to grab an extra screen cap of it because it looked funny. It looked good. It reminded me of like the 1990s sleeping bags that we had. And I thought all of that was great. And the fact that she did ultimately have something on underneath, the problem that we said when we were discussing with it is the fact that it was ultimately just a joke garment. If she'd done something with it, if there'd been like a reveal and like it had turned into a skirt, if it had done something else, then maybe it would have been a little bit more, at least we'd have sympathy. But it is the fact that it really did kind of feel like, I think we said it was one of those kids who, when the question on the essay is, on the test is write your own test, the kid writes, write your own test. Ha ha ha, I did something funny. It's not that funny, actually. Like, we get it. They said quilted, and you did a giant flipping quilt. But it still needed to be a garment, and it didn't need to just be funny, is part of where I'm like, yeah, of course you went home, and it's hard to feel too sad about it.
One of the biggest things about this season that has had me really thinking carefully is that each one of these girls has such a unique cultural identity. You know, I want to say this carefully because I mean it really positively, and I'm worried that the way I say it is going to sound negative on me or someone else. But like, even though TK and I are the same age, we are totally different queers by being geographically different, even only by like 300 miles. Jonah and I are different queers for being 10 miles apart, but 12 years apart. And this season has sought so carefully to cultivate within a decade or so. I think the youngest person is 22 and the oldest person is 33 or 34. And so one of the things that you're seeing on here is an encapsulation. You're not getting that, honey, I grew up when blah, blah, blah was still alive. And honey, let me tell you, you're not getting an old white lady trying to channel the greatest black women of all time in a 60-year-old performance. One of the things that this season is giving me a lot of expectations for is that future seasons will show a different kind of diversity. I was talking earlier about how every single queen this season feels like they have to do some amount of code switching within a group of 2 or 3. There are 2 or 3 Latina queens. There are 2 or 3, you know, I mean this really positively as a white person, high black power queens. There are 2 or 3 art queens. There are 2 or 3 look queens. And this disparity of style is all focused within a specific age demographic, which I think limits it in some ways, which is not working for Rue's choice on lip syncs. And I'm really interested in seeing how future seasons will look at 17 and say, wow, that was the blueprint for how incredibly unique girls can be. Let's match that, because every season for the last 3 or 4 has had some matchy problems.
Yeah, the demographics of this season are pretty fascinating. The young skew is like kind of just the tip of the iceberg, although it's the most like obvious thing to see. But I am interested to see what it means for the future. I'm very fascinated by the fact that we are this far in and we haven't done a very heartfelt moment about Hormona and Lexi being trans. In a good way, like because we did do a heartfelt moment this week, and I can't even remember what it was about. But it was I messaged NICO because I was like, coming off of Canada, this shows heartfelt moments. Like, this is just real proof that they don't have it in the same way the Canadian team had. Like, the Canadian team had a lot of problems editing that show together. But they were really good every episode about editing, you know, Jaylene helping people through their native identities, Jaylene helping people through their trans identities, Virgo being a mother to Sanjina. Just so much fascinating stuff happening. And it might have been the girls too, just a different type of girl, just a girl who spoke differently. Oh yeah, I mean, it was Lexi. She wasn't really even talking about being trans. She was just talking about, you know, being, you know, poor and queer and being kicked out of her house. And she was amazing, don't get me wrong, but the way the show cuts it and like the music that they add and the fast cuts that they try and do, it cheapens what is a very confessional and difficult moment that sort of, I don't care how short our attention spans are, you do have to just kind of sometimes let the frame sit for 5 seconds, and just let somebody fully get the monologue out. And there's just a bunch of stuff like that I'm like, it's really, comparing this to Canada, it's a bummer that I feel like there are people developing, producing, and editing the show who are like, no, we gotta cut here, add some music, and like make sure people know that it's sad. And it just really cheapens what is a really personal moment of somebody sharing parts of themselves.
Yeah, and I know for me, honestly, it makes me less likely to watch it. I've been very distracted by how quick their cuts are for several seasons now. I think by like seasons 7 or 8, I was like, the only time you get to hold for 5 seconds is on RuPaul's face, and that's a maybe. Like, I've not been a big fan of it, and I think that it makes it tough to watch, because when I expect a cut in a reality show, it's to cut to something that is important to what is going on if someone else is talking. And the fact that it's like, cut over here for someone to go, oh, really? Like, I'm just like, what are we doing? Just sit on the girl, let her have her monologue, or just cut to the confessional, let her have the monologue there. Like, figure something out. I don't know. It's why, like, I sort of half tune out between the challenge and the runway. I half tune out for a lot of Untucked. It's just, there's too much choppiness, and I can't keep being like, oh, wait, oh, what is this? Oh, nope, never mind, that wasn't important. Like, I can't do it.
I'm in the same zone, Tori.
I just got the most unbelievable notification. Evidently, Elon is really upset that people are calling them swastikars, and I just can't stop thinking that is the funniest thing of my day. To that point, though, your point, Tori and TK, one of the things that the show is looking to do is I think, looking to continue growing its existing audience while trying to grow a new audience, and that is not something that you can do easily. You can either focus on your existing audience or you can focus on new people, and trying to balance that duality makes it so complicated. I think that is where you get a season with Joella's and Crystal's. Now, obviously, they're both two incredible queens, but one of them is a queen who is about the moment, and one of them is a queen who is about the polished performance. And I do think that that is what we're starting to see here. We're starting to see that duality on stage. And I wonder if we would be better having seasons of Drag Race that are like, as we've been pitching, like funny seasons, glamour seasons, because asking some of these girls to compete in the same arena, it's just not the same competition.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's that doesn't even tackle the money side of it or the connection side of it and all of this stuff. I mean, I think we're getting into a world where it's a lot harder to pluck someone out of obscurity and stick them on the show. But I think we're, I don't know. I was very fascinated when you were like, you think that we're heading towards the idea of these queens. You said that these queens all represent different facets of things, and we're trying to show them all at the same time. There's a great diversity. I do believe that there's diversity. I got the diversity more over on UK6 this past year, more than I get it here. I feel like a lot of the stuff that we're seeing here, we've either seen it before or we've seen a version of it. I don't know. I'm really enjoying these girls, and I'm enjoying a lot of what they're bringing. I found the runways they've been bringing to be unreal. They've been really bringing the runway package this year. But I don't know if I would say that this is speaking to the most diverse group of Drag Race contestants. I think specifically because they are all so young. I think that by cutting out everything that let's even just say that by 10 years old you've decided to start watching RuPaul's Drag Race. That means that we're looking at someone who didn't like 2001 is when they started getting into drag, maybe, if you wanted to. I don't know. Something about it just feels like we're cutting out a large part of like the history of Drag Race and cutting out a lot of the people who have created and molded and become so stamped and so presented as themselves. I don't know. Something about it doesn't feel as right. And I think the age is just scratching the surface.
Well, it's part of it is a lot of these girls are what we affectionately call Generation Rue. Many of them grew up with Drag Race on TV, and part of it was they were inspired by the show itself. You know, and that was even part of Lexi's conversation of Lexi having to do drag to survive because it was the only avenue for her to be able to make money in her situation where she was homeless, living in an abandoned house that did not have utilities or anything, and that was, all right, this is the only thing I can do. I know I can perform. I know I can, you know, put a wig on. I can do makeup. This is literally it. And it's very fascinating to see in a beautiful way, but in a beautiful way that we have young queer kids who see this art form and expression and decide that's what I want to do because they can now. Because I don't know if many of them really know, like, drag was not popular for a very long time. It was an underground art form. It was niche. A lot of it was an art form done by trans women. It was not what it is today. And I wish sometimes the show would be a little bit more learn your history.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
One of the most fascinating challenges that we got, and I think it really was one of the most fascinating, even if I don't like what they did on the actual challenge itself, but the disco-mentary from season 13, going through the history of disco, because disco being such a large music genre for Black people, for queer people, for Latino people, for you know, anybody who's been othered, and going through the history of like what that meant, what it was. I actually thought that the educational parts of the challenge were so fascinating that I wish this show would do like an educational, like, this is where like the starts of drag.
You know, it's one of those things that I think winds up coming down to whether or not you believe that your job is to entertain or to educate. And I think Rue believes that her job is to entertain. And when Rue gives that occasional, because you know, kind of piece of personal life, she's looking to educate. But when you are the benchmark, when you are the banner holder for 17 years, yeah, I do think it is at some point your responsibility to educate. I don't know that I need drag history, the Rusical, but I do think that there is going to come a point where Rue is going to be asked to prove that there is a reason that she has carried the banner for so long. I'm thinking back to being 9 years old and watching the Brady Bunch movie and her saying, "Bitch, you better work," to Jan Brady. You know, like, I'm thinking about where this really is. You're right, Jonah. I am, you know, Generation U. Generation Rue. It's so weird to say Generation Rue that it's hard to say. But there really is something to the idea that Rue and Drag Race have spoken for what it means to be a drag artist to the bigger picture of the world for a very long time. Kevo, it looks like you got something.
Can you believe 2 people on our panel haven't seen RuPaul's performance in that movie?
Who hasn't seen a very Brady movie?
In fairness, I might have seen it a long time ago.
Tori, you're so old. I guess Jonah and Tori.
I lived under a big rock. A big Joan-sized rock.
Well,
it's actually weirder that my mom took us to see it in theaters. She was probably expecting a very different movie. It was more my dad's humor, which probably made her pretty mad. But I don't remember that part.
If that movie came out in the 90s, then yeah, definitely no. We were still seeing James and the Giant Peach and only Disney movies. We did not see movies for like teenagers.
Well, you know, one of the things about this episode that has been so illuminating for me is that one of the things we've talked about is our expectations of Drag Race now, not where it's come from. We did talk a lot about the origins of these memes and how we feel about these girls interpreting them, but we didn't talk about then. we talked about now, these girls now. We kept it about these amazing performers. Do I feel like we said every name I wish we did? No, because what I would definitely say is that Acacia forgot. I did not forget those legs, girl, call me. I had a great time with this episode. I had a great time with these queens. I do think the top 3 was correct. Any one of the top 3 could have won, and I would have been thrilled. I do think the right queen went home. Joella is someone who I see having a much more successful career with this experience under her belt, helping her to understand a little bit better how she's seen by the bigger picture and a little bit less worried about how she wants to be seen. You have to make art for you, but when you want people to buy it, you have to imagine how they're going to experience it. And this was a great week to remind me that every one of these girls experiences this art in their own way, relates it to you in the way that they want you to experience it in their own way, and something like a big funny art piece that you think will keep you safe could be the thing that sends you home. This was a standard week of Drag Race. I guess if it suffered for anything, it suffered for how standard it made the conversation, but I don't regret that. I had a great time with all of these girls, and Joella, I'm sure you have a long future making Rue laugh. Jonah, talk to me. What are your parting thoughts on this episode? Oh, what you got?
I had a joke first. Oh, I get it now. Drag queen in a snowstorm.
That's a very daring joke you just made right there. You were the kingpin of jokes. But Vanessa, I mean JoJo, not just with the handsomest haircut, but also with the handsomest opinions. What are your parting thoughts on this episode, and where can everybody find you before you kick it to Tori?
One, Anya, if you somehow see this, very well-deserved win. If you ever do a show where you're doing like jazzy, sultry performances, it's an instant buy. That performance is amazing. 2, Crystal, if you ever to see this, you tumbling was the funniest thing in the entire world. Truly, the fact that they didn't talk about it more boggles my mind, because it was truly, I will keep thinking about her just rolling around in the back. And 3, Susie Toot, I love you. And if you want to see me, I don't know, having more opinions, you can find me places online at Peak Jonah.
I love that. Tori, how about you? Same questions.
I am going to need you to repeat those because I'm just so dazzled. Who I love and where I am?
Yeah, how you felt about this episode and where everybody can find you.
Yeah. You can find me online at smtori. That's Tori with an I. I was really excited. I was actually really excited that they didn't just release one track with all the songs together, that they did split them up into the actual tracks. So I was a very happy bean. I don't mind that they're not that long, but I really like them. I like this whole episode. I thought it was a great change up from the way they normally do these episodes. And I agree that the top 3 and the bottom 3 were correct. I personally am very happy to have kept Corey King. Although she's on thin ice with me, not ice cubes. And
she's too hot. You'd melt them all down.
Too hot damn. I'm loving Crystal Envy more than I thought I would. I'm loving Anya Nerve. I still love Susie Toot. I can't. I'm sorry. That one was built for me. I can't let go. Sorry.
Well, you just said my top 3. I love that. Crystal, Anya, and Susie are my top 3, and I'm pretty excited about that. Tori, did you say where we can find you?
Find me online at some Tori. That's Tori with an I.
Love it. Kevo, not only do you produce this amazing show, but you make it look so easy and so handsome. What is your big takeaway from this episode, and where can everybody find you online?
My big takeaway from this episode is that I am really enjoying this season. I'd been nervous because there have been a lot of clunkers in the internationals that we've been watching leading up into 17. But no, everything has really been knocking out of the park in very unexpected ways. We will see if that continues. We have RDR Live next week, so that's going to be interesting. We still have a ball coming up. We've got Snatch Game coming up, so are they going to keep expectations up? I hope so, but we'll see. As for who my pick is, Honestly, I don't know. I'm mostly just excited by how much I am loving everyone. It is, like I said earlier, such a great batch of talent. So many of these girls would do amazing in the top 5, even top 3. It's more like the ones that aren't impressing me as much as I would have hoped. Like Lana Jarre is kind of a little too much in the background. I think that she needs to make her mama proud. So we will see how that continues. And if you want to talk to me about that, you can find me on the socials at KEVO Really. That's KEVOREALLY.
Well, I think that is so important. Speaking of making your mama proud, if there is somebody that I hope we make proud every single episode, it's Michelle Visage. But I guess there's also TK. So TK, as the also ran to Michelle Visage, I don't know that there is any greater compliment in this world. But who would you like to see win? What is your big takeaway from this episode? And what is it like to have a fabulous near Boston booty?
My top rollers right now are Anya, Lexi, and Arietti. Realistically, I don't think Arietti is taking it. I don't think that's not because she's amazing. I think it is because she is not quite fitting the mold, but in a way where, again, sometimes breaking the mold is a way to get really good traction outside of Drag Race. But I love her.
Heard that here, she's moldy.
That's correct. I love her, and she is very cute. So, and you can find me at TK Accidental on Blue Sky. Was there? No, I think that's it, right? Yeah. Nico,
yeah.
You make music?
Yeah, this new track, Midnight Blue, you guys can check it out. It's going to be coming out real soon. Real excited to share it with you guys. But as for the rest of me, you guys can find me at NICO Action, NICOACTION. You guys can find me at NICO Action Music. That's NICOACTION MUSIC. Or actually, guys, no, I'm lying. You guys can mostly find me watching 911 and 911 Lone Star with KEVO and Jonah. We are just eating that thing up like it is delicious, delicious cake. But beyond,
if you told us a year ago that we were going to pound the entire franchises of what would be the Thursday night lineup of Grey's Anatomy of 911 a year later, we would have been like, what?
No.
But no, a lot of fun.
Yeah, and honestly, one of the things that I am so grateful for is how the identity of shows like 911, of shows like Grey's Anatomy, are adapting to include the broader range of the kinds of brilliant cultural talent that I see on Drag Race. I love seeing the identity of these girls come in, and how I do feel like this represents a really well-rounded season of beautiful talent, and I can't wait to see more. So until there is somebody as absolutely fucking fabulous as Marjan over here on Drag Race, you guys can always find this show over at X is for Show, X is for Podcast, and HTML. 3 things you guys can do for me. Number 1, you guys could comment, you guys could like, and you guys could subscribe. I know it's kind of basic, but you guys, it affects the algorithm. But 3 things you guys can do for yourselves. That is for all of us. Number 1, please stay safe. It's a crazy world out there. We want to make sure that you guys make it all the way through it. Number 2, be brave, because who you are inside, that's why we want to see you get through it. But number 3, please evolve daily. Who you were yesterday, incredible. Who you are today, amazing. But who you are tomorrow, that's the dream. And we cannot wait to be there with you. So until then, stay true, south, west, east, and United Airlines.
Alan Thicke.
Thanks for flying Alan Cummings Airways, and we'll see ya.